Welcome everybody to Cranbrook School's online boarding open event. This is for students thinking of joining us in boarding from September 2021. I'm delighted to be joined by our Director of Boarding, Mrs. Kirsty Burnett, who will be saying a few words about boarding specifically and how it works later on in the presentation. But first of all, a few words about the school as a whole and boarding's place within it. The whole school numbers now around 880 pupils. Of those, 240 or so are boarders. This comes to something like a quarter of the school's population, is a big part of the character of the school. We're co-educational and we're also part of the Kent network of grammar schools. So for that reason, we're selective on entry, and this applies to boarders too. If you want to join us in boarding, you will have to pass the 13+ examination for entry into Cranbrook, or if you want to join us in the sixth form, achieve a certain number of GCSE points. We also run boarding interviews for those that are thinking of applying to us as boarders, but they're really very light touch conversations with members of the boarding staff just to assess suitability and preferences on the part of the prospective student. We were absolutely delighted in our last two boarding inspections to achieve outstanding outcomes in both 2016 and 2018. And just to give you a flavour of what the inspectors said about the school, just highlighted there's some comments that really made us feel very good about what we have to offer here. Bespoke support for our students. It's seen as a significant strength of the school as a whole, but boarding specifically. And there's a comment in there about how we value our students. And I do endorse that view, that they are very much the centre of all that we do in the school, and particularly in boarding. And that's traditional. If I look back to some of the previous boarders in the school who've gone on and done wonderful things, I find that in the records we have Piers Sellers, a NASA astronaut, who was a mission specialist on 2 shuttle flights in 2006 and 2010, and was in his own right a very famous climate change scientist. Well, he was a Ramel House boarder back in 1968 to 73. More recently, we've come to regard Rory McConaughey as our world-class boarder for his achievements in rugby union. He was a Ramel House boarder in the period 2005 to 2010, but has since gone on to play for Bath professionally in rugby union. He achieved a silver medal in the Rio Olympics for the Rugby Sevens performance there, and represented England in the latest Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019. Now I'm going to hand over to some of our boarding students to say a few words about their experience and their perspective on the boarding life. So welcome to Abby Harper, Max Anderson, and from Year 9, Alanis, to say a few words about their boarding experience at Cranbrook.
My name's Abby and I'm boarding head girl at Cranbrook. I joined Cranbrook in Year 9, in part because of the activities offered to students. For me, Duke of Edinburgh, bronze, silver and hopefully next year gold has been a fantastic experience, which really involved me in a lot of different areas of school life. This was particularly good for me in Year 9 as when I first joined, I didn't know anyone. So the expedition and volunteering components of the award gave me a great opportunity to make friends. Cranbrook has also given me a chance to flourish academically and do things that I would never have dreamt of 5 years ago. The support network of teachers, tutors, and heads of houses provides a fantastic foundation for learning, meaning that as a student, it's very easy to get help if you need it with any of your subjects or other problems that you could be having in or outside of school. I have always found teachers to be very responsive and helpful when I went to them, either if I was finding a specific topic hard or if I wanted additional work to further my understanding of a lesson. Even now in these remarkably unusual times, the Cranbrook community within boarding and as a whole is functioning well, with many clubs and societies and events still being run thanks to dedicated students and staff. I cannot wait to get back to school and to my boarding house and to my friends. The unique diversity of international, national and local students creates an atmosphere in each house which is impossible to replicate. It means that you talk and live and make friends with people who you might otherwise never have spoken to. And to me, that is the best part of Cranbrook.
Hi, I'm Max, and I joined Cranbrook School in Year 9 and was in the boarding house that all the new Year 9 boys start in School Lodge. I had never boarded before and was very nervous. It was a completely new experience and I didn't know anyone else before joining. However, it was one of the best decisions I had ever made and really boosted my experience at Cranbrook. Boarding allowed me to get more involved with the activities that Cranbrook had to offer and gain more academic support when I needed it. There are also loads of events hosted by the day and boarding community, such as our annual Cornwallis Panto, Where Will You Like Day, the Horsley Arcade, and the Webster Cake Sales, all organised by the student body, where all proceeds go to charity. Before coming to Cranbrook, I'd never been actively involved in sport. However, after consistent badgering from my housemaster, I decided to give rugby and basketball a try. Although it was a long road and there were many cold early Saturday mornings, I don't regret a thing and have thoroughly enjoyed playing some thrilling rugby and basketball games. This year I have made my debut for the first Rugby 15 and have been made basketball captain since year 11. I've met many of my friends through boarding and sport, and I'm delighted I've gone out of my way to get involved in life at Cranbrook outside of the classroom. The friends I've made and the experiences I've enjoyed will last a lifetime.
Hi, my name is Alanis Nadir. I'm currently in Year 9 and have been a boarder at Cranbrook School for nearly a whole year. Whilst at my previous school in London, my parents and I were recommended Cranbrook last year, and after a bit of research, we later discovered the secure and organised learning environment provided by this school, which was what I needed, and soon after, my parents were eager to enrol me. I wanted to board because although living away from home can pose its challenges, boarding has helped me gain a greater sense of responsibility and independence that will help me beyond my years at the school, giving me a sense of punctuality and discipline since we are supposed to maintain an appointed schedule as well as a personal timetable where we're supposed to make decisions on how we spend our time. Boarding is like a big family. It's a diverse setting that promotes common experience, friendship, honesty, and trust between both the staff and the students. Boarders get to enjoy so much from weekend trips, themed dinner nights, extra support from on duty teachers both at prep and throughout the day, whole boarding movie nights, etc., to even little things like having access to the school gym after school and after prep, a common area where boarders from all years can socialise and get snacks, and even living on school campus is a bonus. Last term, I played netball for the first time and I grew to love the sport. My netball coach really encouraged me to play the sport and from there, I was really determined to make the 18, which I did in the end, and I was super proud of myself. As well as enjoying sport, I really love drama lessons. It was a place where I wasn't afraid of being myself or portraying different characters. As I move up to year 10, something I'm looking forward to is meeting the new year 9s in my boarding house, as well as focusing on subjects I love and may need extra support in. I'm a bit nervous to be starting my GCSE courses, but it's a new and exciting time in my life, which is only the start of a successful future. Beyond Cranbrook, I'm thinking of going to fashion school in Paris or London, pursuing a job as a model or fashion designer, taking after my mum and sister, or maybe something on the business side of things like real estate or law. But these coming years, I'm really hoping to discover what my passion is. So, why should you or your child consider Cranbrook, you may be asking yourself? Well, apart from independence, respect, high standards in learning, and a sense of discipline, Cranbrook is guaranteed to offer academic excellence and character development.
Okay, I'm going to talk about why boarding at Cranbrook and what skills and qualities you can gain from being a boarder at Cranbrook. It develops friendships for life, which is a key part of our boarding experience. Numerous boarders will have friends from year 9 all the way through adult life. It helps improve your organisational skills because you have to pack for school and make sure your prep is completed. It prepares you for university and adult life because you learn how to cook and look after yourself with the support of members of the boarding team. Hugely character building, and perhaps most importantly, it's fun and enjoyable. This is an outline for the day of a life of a year 9 boarder. You can see that there are set times for breakfast, when lessons start, break time, etc. When we get to the end of the school day, that is the free time for boarders, and that's when we would expect boarders to be involved in extracurricular clubs. And ideally at year 9, we'd expect them to be involved in at least 3 clubs to keep them entertained after school. Prep is done in boarding houses, and they have a little bit of free time after prep before lights out at 10, but the bedtimes vary depending on which year group you're in. Here we have some examples of the boarding programme at the weekend. It can be mountain biking, raft building, escape rooms. Nearer Christmas, we like to do ice skating. We do shopping trips to Blue Water. In the summer term, we do a big inflatable sort of farewell event, which means all the boarding houses come together. The programme is varied, and it is one that we recommend boarders get involved in to ensure that they have an enriching experience while at the school. There are numerous facilities that are available for boarding students outside of the school day. There's the Performing Arts Centre, where boarders can have additional singing lessons and they can practice their musical instruments, and that is during the evenings. We have the swimming pool that's open during the summer term. That can be used for pre-breakfast swims and after-school swims. And we're very fortunate that we can also access the swimming pool at the weekends when the weather is lovely. We have the big side pavilion, which has been recently renovated, and that is used for rugby during the winter term and cricket and athletics during the summer. The Astro is used for hockey in the winter term, and it is used for tennis during the summer, but it is a social space that boarders make use of during their free time. The Sixth Form Centre is open after school, and is also open at weekends as we lead up to exams to allow the sixth formers additional quiet study space. We have the Lecture Theatre, which is used in the evenings by CADSAS and various other clubs which boarders have access to. We have the Queen's Hall Theatre, which is used for school productions, but also regularly has events put on that are focused specifically on boarders, so that they can have activities during the evening. We use the library as a study space, and that's usually after school. We're very fortunate to have the CV gyms, the dance studio and the sports hall, and these are all open after school, but specifically for boarders after prep. And finally, we have the coach house, which is like a social area which has pool table, table tennis, table football, and it's a great social space for boarders after school and in the evenings.
The pastoral system at Cranbrook traditionally is based on a house system, both day and boarding. This is how the structure works overall, with the 6 boarding houses mirrored by 4 day houses and a junior day house. The names of the 6 boarding houses are as follows: School Lodge for junior boys in year 9 only, Crowden, Cornwallis and Rammel for senior boys from year 10 to year 13, and Scott and Blueberry for girls from year 9 through to year 13. As I say, they're mirrored by similar structures on the day side, which you can find out about on the other presentations, also on our admissions homepage. And to give you an idea of the physical structure of the houses, here are some pictures, firstly of Rammel House, a boys' senior house with 40 to 45 boarders within it. Here we have Crowden House, similarly with 40 to 45 boy boarders. And thirdly, Cornwallis House, the other of the senior boys' houses, again with 40 to 45 students within it. Next we have Blueberry House, which is a girls' house running from year 9 to year 13. School Lodge is slightly different in that it houses about 30 boy boarders from year 9 only, or in year 9 only. And lastly, Scott House, the second of the girls' boarding houses, set up for around 40 to 45 girl boarders. Why board at Cranbrook? The reason we believe you should give Cranbrook a serious consideration if you're thinking about boarding is that, like any good boarding school, youngsters grow here, both as people but also as learners. It's an excellent preparation for adult life. There are all sorts of leadership opportunities, and above and beyond that, you grow as a learner if you're a boarder, because there is structure built into the day which enables a real concentration on prep and academic pursuits in a particular part of the boarding day, as you have seen. But also, above and beyond that, there are lots of opportunities to pursue your own interests as a boarder and to develop both as a person a leader and a member of a community. The boarding community here is large by comparison with most other boarding schools, and that gives people a great sense of belonging when they're here, students as well as staff. As a preparation for higher education, I can think of no better pathway than to come into a boarding school and do the study that you need to do well at GCSE and A-level, but also learn to live alongside other learners and prepare for an undergraduate career further down the line. Our results speak for themselves. You'll see other data elsewhere on this website, but from the boarding perspective, I think it's important to stress that GCSE candidates going through to year 11 in a boarding house are likely to get at least a third of a grade above their predicted minimum target level. That's this 0.34 figure here. We're very proud of that data because it shows that our teaching and the way we run prep, for example, in boarding, has a very good outcome. And it's a similar picture at A-level as well, where our value added, this number 3 here, shows that whatever we do at Cranbrook takes students well above and beyond their minimum target level. An ALPS rating of 3 is a record for us and puts us in very good company with some of the highest achieving schools around the country. Lastly, I'm going to hand back to Mrs. Burnett, our Director of Boarding, to say a few words about the admissions process with boarding very much as the focus.
Okay, in order to be a boarder at Cranbrook, this is for a 2021 entrance, all Year 9 boarders will have to sit a CAT test. That's English, Maths and Reasoning. And the date for that is the 14th of November 2020. Boarders will find out whether they have passed the CAT test on the 18th of December 2020. This will enable the application process to go further, where you will then have your boarding interview. If you are wanting to apply to sit the CAT test, then you need to contact our registrar, Mrs. Andrea Baker, and as you can see, her email address and contact number is clearly on this slide. And the application window, which is perhaps most important, is between the 1st of September and the 31st of October. Although we do accept applications for Year 9 entry in boarding during the year, should you miss this deadline. Tours of boarding happen throughout the year, and again, these can be booked through the registrar. This is a very valuable part of the boarding application, as you enable to see what the boarding houses look like, as well as the school tour that's included. Our plans are to have open days on the following dates. These are all subject to change, and obviously this will be determined by the social distancing and the pandemic generally. But our plan is to have our first proper open event on Wednesday the 23rd of September. But as you can see, there are numerous ones through September into November. And there is a specific one on Wednesday, the 4th of November, which is for Year 12 students looking to join us in 2021.